it finally got warm enough that we're going to plant our garden today. I don't think there's any fear of frost anymore. Now, we're downsizing a whole lot. This is across the road from our house. And we've had a large garden ever since we were married in our yard. But we had a large one last year. Lots of corn, lots of beans, peas. I mean, just all kinds of stuff. But we're downsizing. Well, one reason we're downsizing. And I hadn't told this to my YouTube followers yet, but my husband was diagnosed with cancer late summer, early fall last year. So, you know, we don't need a big garden to take care of. But we gotta have our tomatoes. So, yesterday we put the electric fence up, and there's the charger. It's one of those solar chargers. And we put the stakes in for the tomatoes. We're gonna have a dozen tomato plants. And my son's over there making the dirt real soft where we're gonna put squash over there, yellow squash. And maybe one little row of green beans just to eat off of. So, there's Charlie over there resting under the peach tree. Wave at everybody. He's usually my cameraman. He's the one that does everything when I'm doing my cooking videos and stuff. He loves doing that. So, we're not going to plant the tomatoes until this evening, but we've got the holes ready, and we're going to go ahead and plant the seeds for the squash and for the beans. We got the heel here ready to put the squash in, and now we're softening up the ground a little bit for the rows of beans.
Here we are at Fair Plain, Ripley, West Virginia. And Andrew over there is tilling up a little space for some bush beans, tenderette bush beans. And there's Janet. She's planting some squash. Yellow summer straight neck squash. And that little hill right there. We always plant ours in the little hill. I've always heard that squash don't like to get their feet wet, so we raise them up a little bit. Tomatoes will be over there. There's stakes for a dozen of them. That'd be tomatoes over there on that side. Better boy tomatoes. We'll have a couple rows of beans in here. We downsized the garden this time. It's just getting too much to work a big garden. Me getting chemotherapy and everything, and you know, you need all the help you can muster up. Okay, what do we have here? Janet is putting little stakes at the ends of our little short bean rows. And that's always handy, so you'll know where your rows are once you cover them up. Always want to mark your rows where they're at. Okay, good job. Now we'll plant the beans and then scratch a little dirt up on them, and the bean rows will be done. Plant about 1 inch deep. The furrows are a little tiny bit deeper than that, but we'll just scratch a little bit of dirt over top of them, about 1 inch, and they should do fine. They always do. Be surprised how much dirt little beans can push up. They're strong. 1 or 2 inches deep, and they can still push it up.
Now don't do me.
Now Janet is tying surveying tape around the top of those little bean row markers, sticks, and that way you can see where they're at without tripping over them. It gives you a better idea where they're at anyway.
Okay.
You don't want to trip over them, you might fall right in the dirt.
Now, I'm going to go find something to put them bean seeds in with. I'll be back in a minute to make it easier so I don't have to bend over so much.
Okay. Okay, we're back to our little garden space. And there's Janet. She's come up with a clever little way to plant seeds without stooping over and making your back sore. She went and got is that a PVC or just a paper tube?
It's just a paper one.
Paper tube. And probably where some paper was rolled up on or something, but you just stand up and place the bottom end of your tube where you want your beans at, or your seeds, corn, beans, whatever you happen to be planting in a furrow. And as long as they fit inside the tube, drop them and they'll go right where you want them. So it helps a lot. Come up with little ideas when you're gardening to make it easier on yourself. And that's how you do it. Out here in Jackson County, where you always think up ideas, new ideas to do just about everything at.
Okay, here we've got the rows of beans here. All nice and neat. Now Charlie's gonna cover up a row for me. Beautiful day today. Hear the birds are singing and people cutting the grass. We're gonna get this garden put out in no time. These are bush beans. Last year we did pole beans, I think you call them. Right?
Huh? Yeah, we had pole beans last year. They were Blue Lake.
Yeah.
Variety.
Now these are bush beans.
We had them on teepees.
Yeah.
Last year. And they got so tall we couldn't reach them except for the ladder. There's a YouTube video out on that too.
Oh yeah, there is.
Last summer.
And we're just about down to the end of this row. I don't know if I'll find any airheads over in this garden spot or not.
Here.
Over in our other one. I mean, my gosh, I found so many airheads it wasn't funny. It was wonderful. Okay, now, I'm going to pause this for a minute.
Okie dokie, we're back once again. Now, I covered up one of the two rows of beans. Now Janet is just scratching a little bit on top of them, about 1 inch or so, so let them sprout. And hopefully, with some luck, we'll have.
We'll see which row comes up best. We'll get a better job.
Hopefully, we'll have at least enough off of them to make a mess out of for dinner or something. That's what we call it around here, a mess of beans. That's how you talk in Appalachia. So, there she's faster than me. She done got her row done.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Now, our tomatoes are coming, and we're going to do them next.
Okie dokie. Andrew went to get the tomatoes and a couple 5-gallon buckets of water out of our rain barrel down at the building, way down there. And so we're going to proceed to plant our tomatoes, a dozen of them, right in here beside each one of these stakes. Be right back. Okay, we're back. Here we go. We're going to now plant our tomato plants, our Better Boy tomato plants, in these little holes that we dug. And notice the white stuff. That's lime. It's It's real good for helping prevent blossom end rot on your tomatoes, because there's two nutrients in this lime. It's what they call a dolomitic lime, and I'll show you the bag here in a second. You just sprinkle some of that lime, about a half a cup to a cup, all around on the soil, and then put your little tomato plants in there, kind of close to the post, so you can kind of tie them up in case of a bad windstorm, and then water them. So our Andrew here, he went down, our son Andrew, he went down to the building where we have a rain barrel, and got us some rainwater out of the rain barrel. Those tomatoes should really like that. Nothing in it except rain. And so we put the tomatoes in the holes that were dug for them. Put the lime in, the dolomitic pulverized lime, which has got magnesium and calcium in it. That's only 2 ingredients in that lime. It's better than regular lime, regular granulated lime, because that kind of lime's just got calcium only. But this has got magnesium and calcium, this lime does, that tomatoes love. They love both those ingredients, and it feeds them both of those ingredients. And then next thing, after we water them, we'll proceed to hold them straight up as we can and cover them up, hill up some dirt around them, tamp them just a little tiny bit, and we'll be done planting the tomatoes. I'm gonna show this bag of lime right here. Pull that apart, Andrew, up on top of that lime there, so you can see what it looks like, the label. Okay, here's the lime. You can get it at just about any hardware store. We get ours at Tractor Supply in our area. It's really good. It's not real expensive either. It'll go a long way. It's powder. It's a powder type lime. It's pulverized and real fine. Okie dokie. Well, I guess we'll pause here for a little bit. Show you what it looks like after we get them covered up. Be right back. Bye. Okay, we've got our little tomato plants in the ground and covered. Now our son there, Andrew, he's got the little tiller. I call it tiller on a stick. It's a little Honda tiller. Does a real fine job. He just drags it. He drags the tiller backwards and it heals them up for you. Puts nice soft dirt up around your tomato and makes it like a little hill. Does a real good job. Anywhere that soil touches that tomato plant, it'll put down roots. That's the way tomatoes are. Any part of that stalk that's under the ground, it'll make new roots. Come down here, give you a little broader angle here. So it does a real swell job. Here's what the final product looks like. Notice that little heel? When it drags that little tiller backwards around the tomato plant, it pulls that nice soft soil up there on them, around them, and makes a nice little job out of it. Tomatoes are happy. Now, I'm going to show you something here. Notice these little bottles on top of my posts, my poles here. These are metal fence stakes, by the way. I think 6 or 7 footers. Anyway, those are just water bottles, empty water bottles. I cut the bottom out of them with some scissors. One of our relatives says that it'll help keep birds from landing on the top of those stakes and making a mess on the top of your tomatoes. So you know what I mean. So anyway, this is just the way we've done it for over 40 years. Makes a real fine job out of it. Hope you enjoyed watching this. And there's my wife, Janet. Got the beans in. See how we marked our little bean rows? We put little wooden stakes in. And it's just some surveyor tape. You can get that about any hardware store, Walmart probably, or about anywhere. And over there's the squash row. Now the squash are on the very end. We just decided to plant a whole row since we had a little tiny bit of space here to work with. That whole hill there is squash. And boy, oh boy, is squash casserole. You can't do squash wrong. Fry it, you can bake it, you can do about anything you want to here. Squash bread, just about anything. Okay, squash pies, my gosh, land sakes.
Muffins.
You can fry it with potatoes, it's good that way.
You can do some muffins.
Muffins, yeah. Yeah, I mentioned muffins, dear. She makes some dandy muffins with squash.
And you can,
Check out her cookbook on Amazon, by the way.
and you can do squash and tomatoes and onions together in a skillet. They're good.
Oh, they're yummy, yes. Okay.
Okay, we're
I'm
about ready to
Here,
call it a day.
Here, take that call today.
There, honey, I got you.
We're going to almost call today. We forgot. We're going to put some more water on them now, on the tomatoes now that we've planted them. Although we did water them when we put them in the hole, we're going to put more water on top of that, because anytime you transplant your tomatoes especially, they're real finicky, you want to keep them well watered until they lay down roots. And then you're good to go. And it pays to get you some twine, string or something. You kind of put a little loose string around them and hold some extra water to them.
Okay, we're finishing up now. Add a little bit of extra water to the tomatoes. Then we're going to put the wire back up. And this evening we'll turn it on to keep all the deer out of it. There's my husband. This is a perfect place for a garden. You can rest right under the shade of the peach tree. So now all we need is some popsicles.
Thank you for watching our little video. And we hope you learned a little bit. You might already know more than we do. That's okay though.
Yep, probably do. So
But this is the way we do it. It's worked for a long time. So we just keep doing it this way.
okay, this is Janet Smart of Country Living.